I'm going to give you my top 4 best teams of the week and top 4 worst teams of the week from week 9 of the college football season. But first, let me put my thinking cap on. There we go. I'll be right back after the bumper. What is up, college football fans and fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Couz, and welcome to another edition of Couz's Corner, your go-to channel for college sports with a heavy dose of West Virginia Mountaineers. Before I get into today's show, which is my top 4 best and top 4 worst performances from week 9 of the college football season, I want to ask that you please go ahead and hit that red subscribe button, and go ahead and give me that thumbs up button too if you don't care, especially if you get through this video and realize you like my content, and go ahead and smash that thing for me. Alright, let's get on with the show. First, I'm going to start out with the best performances from week 9, and I'm going to count backwards. Number 4, the Georgia Bulldogs and that defense. Georgia had yet another dominating 34-7 performance against our arch rivals, the Florida Gators. Held Florida scoreless through the first 3 quarters of the game, forced 3 turnovers, all of them in the second quarter that led to touchdowns. Georgia's offense isn't very good, and that's a little concerning to Bulldogs fans, I'm sure. But I don't know if they need to be. I mean, their defense is just so friggin' good. Nobody can score on them. So it'll be interesting to see if they do have to play the Crimson Tide in the SEC championship game, how good that defense can hold up against that level of competition. Number 3, the Michigan State Spartans. They had a 37-33 come-from-behind win against their in-state rivals, the Michigan Wolverines. Both teams went into the game undefeated. Both teams went into the game ranked in the top 10. Michigan State ended up getting the best, led by Kenneth Walker III, who just keeps improving his Heisman hopes. Michigan State was down 30-14 in the third quarter, and Kenneth Walker just took the game over. He ended up running for 3 touchdowns during that comeback, with the last one being a 23-yarder, ended up being the game winner for Michigan State. So Kenneth Walker just continues to impress. His totals on the game: 23 carries, 197 yards. Just a fantastic performance. Number 2, the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. They remain undefeated on the season with a 45-7 drubbing of the Duke Blue Devils. Now, I know it's Duke, and I know they're not good, but this is Wake Forest we're talking about here, guys. The Wake Forest Demon Deacons are 8-0 right now. Have a really legit chance of not only winning the ACC, but possibly getting into the college football playoff. Think about that. Wake Forest. And they're led, don't sleep on this guy. Heisman Committee, do not forget about this guy. Sam Hartman, the Wake Forest quarterback. He's 9th in the country in both yards and touchdowns. He's 3rd in the country in QBR. And he's thrown only 3 interceptions in 250 pass attempts. I mean, that is just remarkable. That young man's playing great football right now, and the scary part for the rest of the ACC, he's only a sophomore. He's going to get better. Number 1 on my list, I'm going to be a homer here, the West Virginia Mountaineers. West Virginia had a great win against Iowa State. Iowa State was, I know they were only ranked 22nd, but Mountaineer fans understand this. Iowa State had dominated West Virginia the last 3 years by an average margin of 25 points a game, including the 2018 team, which had Will Greer, David Seals, and those guys. Iowa State flat put it on them that year too. So West Virginia just they got that monkey off their back by beating Iowa State. They beat yet another ranked team that came into Morgantown. The team looks completely different since the bye week 2 weeks ago, and where they went into the week. They went into the bye week 2 and 4. They've come out a completely different football team, and they might actually have a chance to go to a bowl now. Who would have thought that 3 weeks ago? That West Virginia would be playing, only need 2 more wins to get to a bowl game. Unbelievable. I'm super proud of my Mountaineers. Now let's get to the worst of the week with number 4, the Pitt Panthers. Pitt, you had a legit chance of winning the ACC and getting into the college football playoff. You still have a chance to win the ACC because you still control your own destiny in the Coastal Division, but your chances of getting the CFP are done. Kenny Pickett, quarterback, played another fantastic game, throwing for 519 yards, breaking several school records at Pitt. But he threw 2 picks, and those 2 picks hurt him. But at the end of the day, it was Pitt's defense that just could not hold up. Miami was playing with a freshman backup quarterback named Tyler Van Dyke. But kudos to Van Dyke for a great performance. Pitt, terrible performance. And as a West Virginia fan, couldn't be happier that you got your tails kicked. Number 3, the Kentucky Wildcats. 3 weeks ago, they were the talk of the country. They were ranked 11th in the country. Were undefeated, had a chance. They were going into the game against Georgia with a chance to knock off the top team in the country. Still had a chance to win the SEC East. Now here we are 2 weeks later. They lose another game, this time to a unranked Mississippi State team with a new coach, which, by the way, Mike Leach, I think might be the most underrated coach in the country. The guy wins every school he goes to, and he's not been to any juggernauts either. He's been to Texas Tech, Washington State, and now Mississippi State, and he wins football games. That's all he does. But anyway, I digress. Kentucky had a great shot of competing for an SEC championship. They've now lost 2 in a row. Dropped this game to Mississippi State. It wasn't even close. They got outgained 438 to 216. Their offense just didn't show up. Only gained 66 yards on the ground. Kentucky, just a disappointing performance all around. So I got you at number 3 on my list of worst teams of Week 9. Number 2, the Iowa Hawkeyes. 3 weeks ago, they were ranked number 2 in the country. That's right, number 2 in the country. Since then, they've dropped 2 games in a row, both to unranked teams. And in both games, they scored no more than 7 points. Iowa has 0 offense. Absolutely 0 offense. They lost a game to Wisconsin, who was unranked at the time, 27-7. And Wisconsin's no offensive juggernaut either. They struggle to score 2, but they put up 27 on Iowa, and Iowa was only able to muster 7. So Iowa, you are number 2 on my list of worst performances of Week 9. Number 1 on my list of worst performances, the TCU Tadpoles. TCU, they've lost 3 games in a row. They're now 1-4 in the Big 12. They lost 31-12 to Kansas State. Their defense is 112th in the country, and they're coached by a defensive guru named Gary Patterson. Well, let me rephrase that. They were coached by a defensive guru named Gary Patterson. It's so bad at TCU, they have removed Gary Patterson as the coach of the team after 20 years and after putting them on the map as a program. You'd have thought that guy would have been able to coach as long as he wanted to. That's how bad it is at TCU right now. They just can't get anything going on the defensive side of the ball. It's leading to losses to teams they shouldn't be losing to. Therefore, Gary Patterson is gone, and TCU now sits next to last in the Big 12, with the only team being behind them, the Kansas Jayhawks. Well, there you go. There's my top 4 best teams of the week and my top 4 worst teams of the week. Let me know in the comment section what you think about my lists. Who should be on it, who should be out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate you tuning in. Until next time.